of team building and motivational programs for staff. Some because they use it as a less expensive form of advertising. Basically what they're looking for are events where you will have balloons, where you will have children or very attractive young people. It's actually the gender dimension of some of the CSR programs in Romania is often not looked at as much as it should be. The negative abuse of female image for promoting companies and also activities. Now that's not all of it, but you can definitely see elements of that. So for some it's a positive motive. For other companies, it's a trend and it's a cheap way of getting publicity. I think what should be done is to really work with companies and with society in Romania and with organizations to make the distinction and to try and put in place some basic good practice standards and codes of conduct for how corporate social responsibility should be done in a way that it can actually make a positive contribution. I think significantly. In fact, some of the discussions that I've been having with people working in the field who are engaging more actively with companies is that while there's a positive trend of companies increasing their engagement with CSR, you often find that the staff responsible for it, while sometimes very well-meaning, may not have had a proper professional background or training in what is CSR, how to do CSR, and also even going further to the steps of monitoring and evaluation, how to make sure that the funding you're giving is actually, again, having impact, that it's making a difference. I think in the years to come, CSR will come to play an increasingly important role within Romania. And if you can have a program at a university, for example, but also looking at professional training for those in companies, which can give people that background, which can educate them on CSR, which can look at good examples and bad examples and what makes the difference between them, that would be very positive. One of the things that we've seen internationally is that it can actually be a good practice model to involve the key stakeholders in that process. So if you're working to develop a program on corporate social responsibility, involve the companies directly. Use some of those that have expressed an interest or that have this as models and examples. Have the companies themselves engage and come to the universities to show what they're doing. At the same time, the universities can help the companies by actually doing research on it and by helping them to improve the quality of their programs. A third pillar are the organizations themselves, the actual NGOs or communities that the companies are assisting. Involve them also in the design of the program, because then they can bring the perspective of the partners and of those that companies are working with to also be able to help educate the companies. How can they be doing their support better? So I think there definitely is a place for it, and if you involve the right actors within it, it can contribute to a quality practice, a quality model for doing a program of studies like that in Romania. Another actor to involve would be the United Nations and also, for example, local or national authorities. The UN in Romania has itself had a significant program to try and promote corporate social responsibility. I think it's important every time we develop new initiatives to also try and see what is already being done by others and what has been done before. How can we work to build upon each other's initiatives to do more together than we could apart, instead of what we often see, duplicating or repeating without learning and without making the connections that can help make our work better. I think if you're looking at the curriculum and the program that you would use for a course on CSR, whether it's a degree program or individual classes, the standard curricula that exists is useful up to a point, but it misses almost as much as it includes. Internationally, though, you can find good materials. So if you're looking at a standard program that's just saying, oh yes, whatever a company does when it's helping out of the generosity of its heart is wonderful and we have to start CSR because this and this and this reason, that doesn't go deep enough. Those are platitudes. If you really want to see how to make it work, let's actually create original materials. Let's do research on what is the impact, what are good practice examples, and train people by also getting them involved in it in practice. This is one of the things we've seen. If you train to be a doctor, you need to be able to do medicine. If you train to be an engineer, you need to be able to do it in practice. If you're going to do CSR, make sure that you're not only looking at theoretical discourse, at dry academic articles. Train people rigorously in the knowledge and understanding, and make sure that that knowledge and understanding is rigorous and is not simplistic and narrow, but also train them in the actual skills, practice, and methods they need for how to do it. I think there's actually a lot of experience that has been gained in some parts of the world, for example, especially in much of Asia, Africa, Latin America, North America. You've had a range of experiences with companies engaging in communities. What might be beneficial is that rather than looking just in a small, narrow pond, just what's been happening here in Romania, actually reach out to experts in corporate social responsibility from India, from Nigeria, from the United States, but also from Bolivia, and look at different dimensions of it. Expose people to the good practice, but also expose them to the corrupt, the damaging, the destructive practices, which are prevalent quite often, so that we can actually, by becoming aware, see how to make our own work better and make sure that we're not moving over into that direction of doing harm and violating good practice within communities.